Welcome back to the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every week on the upper tier, on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are available through Anchor, and if you'd like to contract the show, you can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the at Sessions Shankly, I should say. Joining me today for our weekly delve into Liverpool news, transfers, and player watch, my partner on the podcast, Dean Fitz. How are we doing, Dean?
Good evening.
How's the update on the new signing to the Shankly Sessions, Lewis?
Signing is just resting at the moment. He's on a bit of a bulk. He is before pre-season starts, so all he's doing is eating and fucking sleeping.
Hey, that's what you want to be doing, don't you? Hey, we're just jealous. Let's kick it off. It's been an interesting week to say the least for Liverpool. Let's kick it off with some news. Big decisions apparently to be made in terms of squad, in terms of Minamino, Harvey Elliott. What you thinking?
I'm sticking by my guns with the Harvey Elliott situation. Unless he's going to someone in the Premier League, I want him part of the Liverpool first team squad. I do think that I think he's more. I always hoped that Harry Wilson would get a chance in the first team squad. And it seems to be a case of now, like it's always a loan, you know. I think he's given up himself. He knows it's not going to happen. At Liverpool, kind of Harvey Elliott has more about him at this age than Harry Wilson did, and I just don't want to see it go down that route of, you know, like another loan, see how it gets on. And I just want them to. I trust Klopp with Harvey Elliott. I think everyone knows how good he is. You know, as I said when we done the Shankly there a couple of weeks on the Shankly sessions, he has everything about him. You know, he's level-headed. I'm not just saying this being biased, and I seem to say this a lot on the Shankly session. I'm not saying this because I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm not being biased, but I just think if he's part of the first team squad this year under Klopp, he's gonna be managed very, very well. You know, I do think he can offer something to the team. I watched him last year, and by no means was I surprised at how well he done at Blackburn. I think he has that bit of edge and that bit of bite about him now that if you can go into the championship and do it week in, week out, I think you're more than ready. The championship is one of the toughest leagues in the world, and you know, up for the young player of the year in the championship. I think he was in the championship team of the season as well. He's just an outstanding prospect. So unless he's going to, say, the likes of a Brentford or a Watford or something, I want him to stay at Liverpool, and I want to see him just bled in slowly next season. But I do think if he went to the likes of Brentford, that he could become a regular and play it week in, week out. I just think playing him, you know, anywhere near Ivan Toney could be something massive for Brentford. I just think that suits him perfectly. Would be the likes of Brentford. But yeah, I'm gonna stick by my guns. I hope he sticks with Minamino. It's a tough one because he showed in fits and starts when he went to Southampton that, you know, he is capable of that bit of magic. You know, it's just unfortunate that I just think it's gonna be too much for him to settle in at Liverpool. It's too much to bed in. He seems so timid and kind of kept to himself and stuff like that, whereas you need to come into a club like Liverpool with a big personality, you know. So look, the signs, it's 50-50 at the moment with Minamino. You know, there's talk that he's turned down anything that's been put in front of him regards going out on loan or leaving the club. He wants to go back to pre-season at Liverpool and give it everything. And if he's told at the end of pre-season, look, we don't see it fitting in here, it's up to himself then where he goes. But yeah, it's a difficult one, you know.
Yeah, he was unlucky as well. He kind of like it's weird as well. You know, you come in during the COVID and all that kind of stuff, so you haven't really. We probably haven't seen the best of him yet in terms of when fans are back and stuff like that. No, I still think Minamino. I still think Minamino on the bench, I think, would be a good option for us. You know, I still think it's
yes, definitely. Think he adds to the bench. Definitely. Yeah, I think it's something different. You know what I mean? Klopp didn't sign him for. He didn't go out and say we need someone from Japan, like for that Asian market to sell jerseys. You know, he's seen something about him, and we've seen it. Salzburg kind of came out of nowhere, and we did see, like, he is a decent player. We seen it. We were in Anfield that night when they get the 4-3 game. He played really, really well. He scored and he set up one. Yeah. I just think maybe coming in, if he comes in with the fans back in the ground, and the team has a bit of momentum behind him, and he's coming on, and we're winning games by a goal or two, or something like that. I just think that could push him onto another level, and that could give him the belief in himself that he can settle in there.
Yeah, definitely be interesting anyway. News on these Olympic squads coming out this week. Konate has declared himself out of it, which I think is a very good move. But still no word yet on Mo Salah. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen there. But certainly this whole Olympic thing is going to be a bit of a nightmare. Seems to be very disorganised. Doesn't seem to have its finger on the pulse. And obviously there's issues over there still with COVID and stuff like that. And also, I think people should be taking a higher view of these things in reality in terms of the season and who pays your wages and stuff.
Yeah, especially with Salah. And the one thing I do appreciate with Salah is not going to Liverpool and saying, "Look, I think he'd like to go, but he's not going and causing problems about it." You know what I mean? And yeah, like what you said, like there's a lot of people don't want to go the Olympics to go ahead. With Konate, that's great for Liverpool from a selfish point of view. You know what I mean? He wants to just get straight in, no messing around. He wants to get a pre-season. He knows there's that position beside Van Dijk up for grabs. You know what I mean? If he comes in all guns blazing, has a great pre-season, doesn't pick up any niggling injuries, and Klopp sees that there's something there, that bit of a connection, because you have to think about as well, Matip's been out for a long time and Gomez, so no one out of three of them is putting the hand up and saying, here, I deserve to be straight back in there beside him. That place is up for grabs, and it's going to tell now who comes in and wants it most. And, as we said with the fixtures, Norwich away, no disrespect to Norwich, but come here, you'd rather have Norwich on the first day of the season than be playing the likes of City or be playing the likes of United or the likes of Chelsea. So you have that game to come in. I'm not gonna say like, we're gonna go and wipe the floor with Norwich, but I do see us going and getting 3 points. You get 3 points there, it gets the ball rolling. And as I said, if Konate shows what he's about in pre-season and Klopp sees that, look, think that could really work well, because when I watched them playing, he's like left-sided Van Dijk. I think the two of them will complement each other really, really well. Plus, as well, there's talk now of this three at the back with the two wing-backs. So, it's all up for grabs. But, yeah, it's great news that he's not going to the Olympics, but it remains to be seen now what's going to happen with Klopp or with Mo Salah.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Henderson came out this week. He says he's been getting a few entertaining messages off Jurgen Klopp. This is the gaffer checking in with the captain all the time, but I can only imagine what those messages are like. Klopp, he's such a trickster, So it's great to hear though.
Yeah, getting text message at 3 o'clock in the morning. What's up, bro? How are you keeping and all? You just like. I'm just happy he's their manager, because he just comes across as if he's one of the boys, like, you know what I mean? You'd players like over the season saying, especially during the lockdown, you'd just be sitting there. Jota even said it about signing. Just get a message out of the blue, and it's like, yo, it's Jurgen. How's things like? And you seen the pictures of him there on his holidays on the back of the yacht with the bottle of Heineken and the smoke and all. And you're just like, he's just one of the boys. Like, it's great.
Yeah. It's really cool.
I can imagine now. I can imagine there's a text message or two now gone in there, and you'd be like, "Look, that Sancho deal isn't done yet, but put the arm around him." And yeah, it's you need someone like that. You need someone like that, don't you? You probably have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer texting you at 3 a.m. saying, "I'm shitting myself about next season. Any chance of a dig out?"
Yeah, absolutely. News coming out this week: Elton John to play a number of concerts at Anfield. It looks like the club's in for a bit of a windfall, about 10 million. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're talking 10 million.
Yeah,
and I was the funny thing is I was going to text you and say, do you fancy that next August, next year in Anfield? And then I was like, Niall's not an Elton John man. I think that's one with the missus I'll have to do. But no, it's great now to see since this I think last year it was signed that Anfield can be commissioned for events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's great that you look at Spurs and the money that's coming in from the NFL and stuff like that, and you look at United, the money that comes in from the Rugby Super League and stuff like that. So, look, if you can get 10 million out of a few Elton John gigs, sign me up.
You kind of have to be so much more than just a football club at times, don't you, in terms of your financial well-being, if you like. You know?
It just shows that how far the club has come in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like this, like how quickly that the ground redevelopment has like they're already cracking on with that. You know what I mean? The whole Elton John thing. You seen last year, Gary Barlow played there, and Jerry Marsden, Lord rest him, came out and sang "You Never Walk Alone." Anfield, we've been there many times, and it's not just football games, but it just has that. Everything is close to the pitch. You know what I mean? So if you stick a stage slap bang in the middle of that, everything is just echoing around you. You just have that aura about it. So, as I said, if Elton John is going to be coughing up 10 million for you, sign me up.
So match day at Anfield always feels like a concert anyway.
Yeah, big time.
1 year on from winning the league, I went and I revisited those videos again of Klopp in tears and Hendo and all the boys and stuff like that, and I just thought it was thinking back to that special moment when we won the league again 1 year on. Like it was still a weird feeling again. You know, you can't let yourself really celebrate it because it didn't feel, you know, like it should have felt if you're waiting 30 years.
Just
you know?
what we had planned out for it and all, like going over for the game over in this Anfield Hotel, and the following day going down to the parade and all, and we were like fucking kids, like it was like Christmas Eve, and then for all to be just taken away from us and all. But I done the exact same thing as you. After the Champions League final, you had all the fan videos came out on my personal YouTube account. I have the best night of my life part 2, because best night, well, can't really say it loud because she hears me. Obviously, the best night of my life now was when my young fella was born. But prior to that, it was 25th of May 2005 Champions League when we in Istanbul. Then we won the Champions League in Madrid, built up a YouTube playlist, and it's just all like the Jamie Webster videos, all the documentaries, all the fan videos, and still watch them now. But yeah, the last couple of weeks because you get the notifications, like the reminders and stuff like that. And yeah, I remember I was walking in Northside Shopping Centre till 8 o'clock that night, and I remember being on the bus coming home after work, and obviously City are playing Chelsea, and I'm watching on my phone, and the bus is just packed with people, and I'm like celebrating when Chelsea scored, and I'm getting off the bus and the final whistle blows, and I'm like, yes, and people looking at me on the bus saying, this fella's a lunatic, and I'm like, Liverpool won the league, and everyone's just like, oh right, yeah, get off the fucking bus, and then I'm going home across the park, and I'm recording myself singing and dancing. I remember coming through the park exit before you come onto my road, and Leon Johnson and his son Mason, they're avid Liverpool fans, absolutely, they're like me and you, and he's out in the garden with the red flare and he's singing all the songs, and I'm jumping up and down with him and all. And I just remember sitting there with my dad, and like I never thought I'd witness it with my dad. You know what I mean? My dad was around like 84, 85, the Champions Leagues, and he's seen Kenny and Emlyn Hughes and all the greats, and I was like, I just thought I'd never see it. And I just remember sitting there when they were talking to Kenny in his house, and he's opening the champagne, and Kenny was crying, and me, my dad, my ma were sitting there and we're toasting, and I just remember sobbing. And then you rang me, and I went out the back, and me and you were like, we fucking did it, we did it. I was just, you know, even thinking about now, it's just a surreal feeling. You know, I just never thought I'd see it happen. And look, we didn't get to celebrate the way we did, but I'm just glad that I finally got to celebrate us winning a league. And just remember when Van Dijk was sitting there and doing the interview for BT Sport, and even if you even Rio Ferdinand, even if you didn't support Liverpool that night, it just seemed everybody was genuinely happy that a club like Liverpool was finally back up. Other than Gary Neville, everybody was happy that Liverpool were back where they belong. You know, it was absolutely magical, and it's something I'll never ever forget. Just hope there's another one close down the pipeline.
This season coming, no messing about.
Yeah, showing Mbappe and all, like everything's just happening.
Well, I tell you, if Konate's training videos are at the go, boy, this now is all business. Seeing some video footage of him this week training in pre-season, this guy is all business. Yeah,
big time. And then you see the videos out of Virgil training and all, and you're just like, my man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next season is going to be, it's going to be the Renaissance, Liverpool 2.0. I'm not going to go and say it's going to be our year because we don't need to say that anymore. We won the league last year. Yeah. But next season, I just think, look, I'll be disappointed. Man City go out and sign Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. I will be disappointed if we don't go out and get, not necessarily a marquee signing. Look, I think we've kind of resigned ourselves to that. The kind of the 35 to 60 million kind of bracket, which is in no means like small money, but I think City know that there's not much they can do to get better. You know what I mean? Whereas Liverpool ain't going to be that bad again. Chelsea are going to come at them. Looks like United are going to get Sancho. You know, everyone's going to be going at Man City, and the pressure is on them. That's why I think Liverpool are going to do unbelievable next year, because everybody thinks that now Man United have settled. They've got in Ruben Diaz. You know, it's all down to who they get to replace Sergio Aguero, because Kevin De Bruyne is picking up. He's gone off injured in the game again tonight. He seems to be picking up niggling injuries a lot now. And if they're going to be getting rid of Sterling or Mahrez, you know, it's next season could be another season like when we won the league. Like City could just crumble, I think.
It looks like they're going to get Grealish and Kane, but we'll talk about that in the transfer show. Craig Johnson celebrated his birthday this week, 61 years young. I don't know about you, I miss those hairstyles. I love those hairstyles. They're just crazy.
Has nobody told him that he's gone bald on the top of his head? He still has the ponytail and all. But good old Craig. I've seen the pictures of him in the suit with the two buttons open and the slick back ponytail with the ball on top and all. I was like, remember when football players just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he's kind of like he's rocking that kind of Paul Heyman look, isn't he?
That's exactly who he looks like in the suit.
Let's move on and look at some transfer news this week pertaining to Liverpool. A guy you've been talking about a lot, Sander Berg. Looks like the price tag has come way down from 35 to 13 million, which is a significant drop. What you thinking on
it? At 13 million, I'd probably entice to kind of dip in there with a bid and see what happens. I think Sheffield United thought that when they brought the likes of him in, that, you know, that was going to steady the ship and they wouldn't be relegated so soon. And a player of that quality is not going to sit around in the Championship if there's Premier League teams or, you know, one or two top European teams sniffing around. But look, with Genie going and, you know, Hendo's not getting any younger, and, you know, he has those injury concerns. And I think someone like Sander Berg, you know, we've seen it in a few performances. I know he was out injured a bit last season, but we've seen it in a few performances. You know, he can do a job in that role. And like for 13 million, like, that's nothing nowadays. Like, if you're trying to get 15 million for Harry Wilson, why not go in and spend 30 million or 13 million on Sander Berg? I just think we've talked about a lot about having better faces on the bench. And I just think the likes of Sander Berg are like, why not? You know what I mean? You're not breaking any budgets there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd be more than happy if I'm Jurgen Klopp, because we know he's an admirer of him. So there is that hole that needs to be replaced now that Genie's gone. We all want to see like some Milinkovic-Savic or Yuri Tillemans or something. But like, even if you're gonna go out and sign one of them, again, 13 million for Sander Berg is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Real Madrid kind of making a decision this week where they're looks like they're not going to go ahead and try and pursue Mbappe. So that kind of really just leaves us, doesn't it? Just get on with it and get in there and sign him now.
I think I think they must have watched one or two of the old Shankly sessions and said, look, this fella knows something we don't. We're just going to step away from that deal. Free run, off you go. Look, I've thought about it. Well, I think about it every day, really. I just, if Real Madrid aren't coming in from now, it could be that they're trying to build the funds for it for next year. But then again, who's to say now that PSG don't bring in one or two more faces and really have a, well, they've had a really good go at the Champions League for the last 2 seasons, but he's come out this week and talked about how great of an addition that Wijnaldum is, and he seems to be happy there, and nobody has the money to buy Neymar. We've seen all the talk now of fake news regarding Mbappe, and Fabrizio Romano came out today and he said that there's nothing between Liverpool and Mbappe this summer. So if he's talking about it as it's not happening, I think I'm going to just have to resign myself that we're working on one of those Naby Keita pre-deals to get him for next year. So Kylian Mbappe 2022.
You just have to change the jersey, yeah?
You have to change it.
Benfica apparently want Harry Wilson. 12 million. What you thinking?
Yes, football's a strange old game, isn't it? When out of blue you get word that Benfica look likely to sign Harry Wilson for 12, 13 million. I love Harry Wilson as a player. When he plays, we've seen it with Bournemouth and all. He's a bit of magic about him, you know. When he's really on his game and he gets the ball down, he's for me he's an exceptional talent. But it's just not consistent enough. Whereas he's not gone off on his loan deals and done it week in, week out. He's picked up a few injuries and he's not really set anything alight. And you're looking at it and saying, well, he's not done anything of note where you're going to say, right, come on back, have a good pre-season and let's see what you can do if you're coming off the bench or something next year. But I'd love him. I'd love that deal to come to fruition for him. I'd love him to go off and explore Europe. And I really do hope it works out for him. He's still only young, you know what I mean? It would be sad if he left the club because I've always, over the years, I remember going back to Christian Nemeth and Danny Pacheco and Adam Morgan, Jay Spearden and all, Stephen Darby. I remember going back watching all those lads years ago when LFC TV was free. And I always had, me and my brother, we always had a keen interest in the academy and stuff like that. And I remember watching players come through and like, he's gonna be the next big thing at Liverpool. And I think on one hand you could probably talk about the players that actually did come through and actually did do some. So for Harry Wilson, I really do hope that deal works out for him. I hope that he goes off and plays in Europe somewhere. And just shows. I think that the likes of the Portuguese league, I think he'd settle really well there. I think, you know, there's not much pressure on him. It's not much money. I just think the style of football over there, do you know what I mean? It's not hard pressed like the Championship, or it's not hard pressed like the Premier League. So, look, if he does go off, I'd be sad to see him go because I always had an interest in the young lads coming through. But I really, really do hope that deal works out for him.
Yeah, I think it's a case where he actually just needs to find a new home, doesn't he? And an actual proper home where he's moved on so he can just settle and get on with his football, not a loan deal or anything like that. Italian press at the moment reporting that Liverpool have offered 35 million for Kingsley Coman. This is one I'm very excited about, but apparently the Bundesliga champions are holding out for 50 million. I would be very excited if Kingsley Coman was coming into the Liverpool side.
That's an understatement about being excited about that deal coming in. Yeah, exceptional player. 35 million is no money at all in the market nowadays. Still only young, exciting on the ball, has an eye for goal, great work, has that bit of guile and finesse about him when he's on the ball. You know what I mean? When he's tuned in, he's really, really tuned in. Just deals like that, you know, Lorenzo Pellegrini, Kingsley Coman, like the fact that we're even being talked about these players, like we look back, we had a laugh about it last week, that you look back at the players that we were linked with before and you look at the players that we're linked with now, you know, players want to sign for Liverpool, and the fact that we got Champions League football, if we signed Kingsley Coman, it would be fucking buzzing, absolutely buzzing. You can't be going into a Premier League season, as I said, and I always say there's no disrespect to Divock Origi or Sheridan Security or players like that, but for me, they're just not the type of players that are going to have you challenging on all fronts. Whereas Kingsley Coman, Champions League winner, multiple league winners, you know what I mean? Was he part of the French squad that won the World Cup?
Don't think
so. Neither here nor there, but yeah, just it's exciting times. I'm always saying this when we do the Shankly season. Very exciting times this summer. I can't wait to see who we bring in.
It's definitely another level player, which is what we're really looking for, isn't it?
Definitely.
There wouldn't be a week that goes by where every team isn't linked to this lad, Alexander Isak, the Swedish player. And we've been linked to him this week, that apparently we're in a bit of a battle with Real Madrid. I'd say this is nothing more than agent talk. I wouldn't say we're in a battle with Real Madrid at all for Alexander Isak, but decent player, but kind of, for me, flatters to deceive. I don't know what the whole big hullabaloo is about him. I've seen him miss more than he converted.
No, he'd won good season in the league last year, and you know, a few teams are sniffing around, and we've seen it with that it's the Ghanaian fella or the Senegalese fella, that young lad, Fat Siwa or whatever his name is. We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, saying, he's going to be a great. We were convinced that the deal was done, and it turns out it was his agent went out and said that Liverpool had signed him we're on the verge of signing him, so other teams would come in and up the offer, and I believe he's signed with Sport in Lisbon now.
I think so, yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so stuff like that. So yeah, come here. I'd rather keep Divock Origi, if I'm honest, than this fella Isak. He doesn't stand out to me.
He's going to the Swedish.
You know who
I would?
Do you know who I'd be really, really excited to sign? This guy Damsgaard of Denmark. What a player, Niall.
Yeah.
He bossed the game last night. 20 years of age. Plays like he's been on the elite scene for at least 10 years. Came in with no pressure at all in one of the biggest games in Denmark's history, needing to win by 2 goals to get out of group stage, and came in and just set the world alight. Done it again last night. For me, he looks like, I think this is Anfield we're talking about as well last night. He looks like a really genuine replacement for Gini Wijnaldum. 20 years of age, you're not looking at big money, regardless of how well he does in the tournament. Because where he is at the moment, there's no buyout clause or anything like that. So, yeah, you know, there's a few players at the Euros that I'd be interested in.
Yeah, having said that, it was a very poor Wales team, wasn't it, in fairness?
The best thing that came out of Wales team was your man Chris Gunter's bit of a fucking throwing his toys out of pram this morning. It's the only exciting thing that came out of Wales team. Gareth Bale having a fit we've seen it countless times over the years when a player is questioned about, look, is this your last time in the national team? Is it time to retire now? Gets up and walks out. I'm like, mate, have a bit of fucking respect about yourself, will you? And for the media as well. They're not asking you personal questions. They ask you, do you see yourself as this is it for you? And he gets up and he walks out sulking, and I'm just like, man, come off it, will you? You know you're Mr. Wales. You don't need to go around and fucking have that aura about you. He just seems to not give a fuck. But yeah, the only good thing that came out of that Wales team was Chris Gunter's little throwing his toys out of pram this morning on Instagram.
Caoimhín Kelleher signs a new long-term contract. I know you're going to be happy about that.
Very.
Number 2 was
very happy about that. Yeah. We said it last week or the week before, and just his little that he came out and said about knowing that he can push Ali. You know, he came in Champions League games, he came in league games, kept clean sheets, made some outstanding saves, came in for the Ireland team, against Hungary for the second half and made some unbelievable saves. Still only a kid. I'd be more than happy if Alisson got injured and Kevin Kelleher was stepping in to fill that void. I think that he's the future for the club. Alisson has still got a few years left there, but just think when you hear him talking and the way he comes across, he knows that he's good enough, but he's not like your Jordan Pickford. He's not like your Ederson. He's not cocky. He's not arrogant. He's not petulant. You know what I mean? He's just holding off in the background, and like you're dealing with one of the best goalkeepers in the world. You're dealing with Brazil's #1. He's only going to get more and more confident. And for Jurgen Klopp to come out and give him a 5-year deal, what does that say about you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was great news there the other day. Let's move on. Quick player watch. Obviously, Jota, Thiago, Henderson, and Shaqiri through to the last 16 in the Euros. But Robbo bows out. I think Scotland were very unlucky. I think they should have beat England and they could have went on a little bit more. But we won't complain too much because we get Robbo back for pre-season and he gets a bit of a rest. So I'm sure he'll feel differently about it. But good to see the boys going through last 16.
We thought. Yeah, definitely. It's great. Jota's been playing very, very well. But I'm watching. I have the game on here, and do you know what I'm so disappointed? Jota's work rate is so it's overlooked. He works his ass off. Okay, you look at the first goal. There's absolute carnage kicking off here in this game. Pepe is throwing heads at people and all. You look at the goal tonight that Belgium scored. They had the camera, that spider camera that's on the top of the pitch or above the pitch. The whole of the Portuguese team is back, and Ronaldo was nearly in the Belgian box. And I'm just saying, every time the camera goes to this guy, he's moaning. Now I understand he's one of the best players to ever do it and all, you know. But come off it, mate, will you? You're at a major tournament. It takes 11 players to win a major tournament. You know what I mean? Get your finger out your ass. There was talk last week that he'd fallen out with Diogo Jota in training or something. Then Diogo Jota comes out and he scores a goal and gets an assist the following night or the night after that. And I'm just saying to myself, why are players like this so overlooked? But yeah, if Ronaldo, he's done absolutely nothing tonight. They're still losing 1-0. But if he pops up in an equaliser now in the 90th minute, everything is going to be about Ronaldo again. Now, as I said, I know he's one of the greatest players to ever do it. But it just pisses me off with the likes of Diogo Jota. He's just completely overlooked. Regarding Thiago, great that they've got through. They're lucky if you ask me, because had they not qualified for the last 16, Enrique's head was on the chopping board and he was off. But the only good thing coming out regarding Thiago is he's not busting his lungs now at this tournament. He's going to come back relatively fresh. So again, from a selfish point of view, it's great. Hendo, we kind of know he's not fit. He's coming on and playing a few minutes here, there, and everywhere, and he's kind of just there for morale. Like, you've Calvin Phillips coming out, Sancho's coming out, Grealish is coming out, talking about how great it is to have someone like Jordan Henderson there. You know, he's a real leader in the team. Whereas you have Harry Kane. I'm afraid to say this because he'd probably go out on Tuesday and bang in 2 or 3. He's done absolutely nothing at this tournament. And yet he's looked at as the leader of England, even when Jordan Henderson is fit. Jordan Henderson should be captain of the England team. Hands down.
Would you drop Kane if you were Southgate?
100%. I don't give a shit. And he came out today, Harry Kane came out today and he said his head hasn't been torn by that Man City move. Of course it is. You fucked Spurs under the bus just before you went off to the Euros. Man City have came out now and said that they're going to offer 100 million or 107 million euros or whatever. And you're trying to tell me that hasn't turned your head. He's not out there committed to that cause because he's afraid if he gets injured, that's his move to man, his dream move, and his chance of winning trophies is gone. But as for Robbo, still haven't heard from Dane Malone.
Yeah. Levy should be taking the hand off them for that money, shouldn't he?
What did we say last week? If I'm Daniel Levy, I'll turn around and say, if you really want Harry Kane, we'll have Mahrez, Sterling, and Gabriel Jesus. No money, give us them 3 players.
Absolutely.
Simple as that. But just regarding Robbo, I still haven't heard from Dane Malone regarding that bet we had He's gone hiding after saying that England are going to win the Euros, and
he mentioned it on the preview show. Check out the preview show on the network. Yeah, he mentioned it on the preview show. In fairness to him, now we did bring it up. He wasn't as confident about the bet now. In fairness, this time, but still, he's still in there. Your boy Bobby. Your boy. Go ahead.
No, go on. No, I was just going to say that just regarding Robbo. What a leader, what a man. You know, just you get teams like Scotland, like Ireland before, the likes of Wales, Northern Ireland. You always had that kind of one player that, you know, is the front and center. You know, he's the old 300 character, isn't he? Like tonight we dine in Spartan, or you know, you need players like that in your team. And just unfortunate he didn't get that goal against England, because he deserved to win and go through. But look, if anyone deserves a break, it's Andy Robertson. You know, go off, have a good holiday, enjoy yourself, rest up, because you know, everybody's going to be back to their best next year. And he was kind of coming into his own again towards the end of the season. So just as sad as I am for him to be knocked out, I'm really excited now that, you know, we're not far away. We're what, 8 weeks away, less than 8 weeks away from the start of the Premier League. So rest up and get those get everything motoring again, because we're going to see a different animal next year.
Absolutely. Your boy Bobby Firmino coming on late for Brazil, getting the late winner in the Copa Berg against Colombia 2-1.
Controversial stuff as well. Class, love it. Do you know, it makes it even sweeter that Bobby scored it. Like I think if he won a Euro on a scratch card, he'd go off dancing down the street. Favorite player, you've heard me saying it countless times. Absolutely love Bobby Firmino. He could go a whole season without scoring a goal, and I still wouldn't get on his case. I absolutely love him. We thought that the Copa America wasn't going to go ahead. Bobby done the business the other night. The lads are getting run out. You know, it's kind of just keeping the legs kind of ticking over. As we said, like they're off having their little holiday with their family. Alisson's off with the family after losing his father. Brazil could go all the way. It looks there's 3 or 4 names in the hat for the Copa America, but yeah, it's good. It's good to see the Liverpool lads off and buzzing and, you know, winning games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as always, been a pleasure. I know we smile from ear to ear when we do these Shankly sessions. Pleasure as always. So head over to the Dynamo Podcast Network on YouTube. Smash that subscribe bell notification button. This has been your weekly dose of Liverpool FC on the upper tier. Our audio versions of the show are available on Anchor, and if you'd like to contact the show, we're on Twitter @SessionsShankly. Dean, pleasure as always, my man.